Alright, so 2 days in a row, the top two favorites cutting it quite close, and today even more so in the case of Rafael Nadal. Before I start off regarding the match itself, let me just say that henceforth July 6th should be known as Rafael Nadal's day at SW19. I mean, 14 years to the day of the '08 Wimbledon final, of course, and then also 4 years to the day of that 2018 quarterfinal against Juan Martín del Potro, and in 2022, July 6th brings about yet another epic. This time, I think in completely different types of circumstances and for different reasons, obviously. This match not up to par as far as quality in comparison to those two classics, but nonetheless, this match did give us vintage Nadal without a shadow of a doubt. Talk about never giving in, there were several points in this match where Nadal looked like he might pull the plug on it, and, it seemed like Papa Nadal and his sister from the box both were urging him to do so at the first sign of this abdominal issue. Now, if you've been paying attention, Rafa Nadal has had this kinesio tape on his abdomen area ever since, I believe, the Berankis match at Wimbledon, if not the first round against Cerundolo, but I know for sure from the second round on. And when asked about it, Nadal in press has really denied to give any insight into what it is and the severity of it, has really just wanted to focus on the tennis. However, we got rumblings of him not practicing his serve in between the fourth round and this quarterfinal match today. And if that wasn't concerning enough, once this match kicked off, very quickly on, after a pretty brisk first set, midway through the second, it became quite clear that this was something that had flared up more so than it had all tournament long. Really hampered the Nadal serve and his ability to hit it as, he normally does. And that was something that persisted for most of the remainder of the match, but this again did allow us to get a glimpse into why Rafael Nadal yet again is one of the fiercest competitors in all of sports. This really seemed to be a case of mind over matter, and I guess all I can say is, Nadal's magic carpet ride in 2022 continues, and I say that in the sense of, we've seen it in the last 2 years, really, so many times, where if a player gets on a roll, these last 2 years, it's been Nadal and Djokovic, and in each of those cases, we have seen several times where that winning feeling really carries above all. It has masked form inconsistency at times, physical ailments, really even created this aura that is, I don't want to say conducive to other players choking, but it really does result in the opposite side of the net feeling the pressure to knock them off this pedestal. And I really do feel that that was the case today. And, not only all this of the tremendous mental effort it took out of Nadal today, but on the technical side, this was just another forehand masterclass out of Rafael Nadal, particularly in sets 4 and 5. That shot really just got into such a great rhythm, and he really just got into one of those zones on that wing. And I have noticed, over the course of this guy's career, whenever he's either being severely outplayed and requires a tactical change, or he is ailing somewhat, you do get to see pretty much in full force the entirety of Rafael Nadal's racket talent. He pretty much swings with all-out aggression on his forehand and connects most of the time. In addition to that, all the improvisational stuff. He showcases all his varieties, slices a lot, droppers more, getting to net more. All that sort of improvisational stuff is really almost always on display in these two cases, and it really is a beautiful job of problem solving. And pretty much all of these were on display today against Taylor Fritz throughout the course of the last 3.5 or so sets. And he really needed all of it, considering, just how much sting was taken off of his serve post ab injury, really making a bigger imprint in this match. And then looking to the other side of the net, coming into this match, I honestly felt that I feared Taylor Fritz more than Nick Kyrgios potentially down the line in a semifinal, because honestly, there really is not much of a viable sample size with this much more improved version of Taylor Fritz this year. Indian Wells, obviously both players banged up, and then Kyrgios, Rafa really does know what to do with him. Nadal, always seems to target that forehand return when they play, and he's just figured out that he pretty much needs to play flawless tie breaks against Nick sometimes when he's just in one of those serving zones, and he's done a great job of that ever since their Acapulco match in 2019. But obviously now circumstances have changed. Rafa's physical state heading into that semifinal will be priority number one. But my point being, Taylor Fritz certainly was someone to be wary of, and he showed it today. I think for the most part, very good match from his part. Really, aside from the end of the second set, I don't think he allowed what was going on the other side of the net to rattle him that much as it did a year ago. Today was kind of deja vu with a GOAT-level opponent struggling with an ab injury, coincidentally enough. But that was the case a year ago when Fritz faced off with Novak Djokovic at the Australian Open, and in that case, in the fifth, he really did seem to let that get to him. Obviously, never easy to play someone who is injured. It's kind of an awkward situation all the time, but I think Fritz did a pretty great job of handling what he could on his side of the net, aside from the end of that second set where he kind of tightened up. Otherwise, though, Fritz really did his thing here. First set, Nadal came out absolutely guns blazing, kind of similar to how Djokovic did so in his first set against Jannik Sinner. Rafa had, I believe, a love 30 for the double break, didn't get that, and from 3-1 on, pretty much fell apart utterly. And I don't know if this ab issue was bothering him at this point, but he did crouch down, I believe, after doubling to give up the 3-4 game. Who knows? Regardless, it was a pretty violent turnaround, but Fritz, he really did a great job of sticking around in that first set and closed it out with, I believe, 3-4 aces. Second set was loose from the beginning. Nadal again got the early break, then gave it right back. Couple of very tight holds that could have gone either way and potentially swung how this match went, where Nadal barely got over the finish line preceding the medical timeout and also following it. And then at the back end, Fritz definitely did end up tightening up, as I mentioned earlier. I do think that aside from the third set, Fritz definitely could have done better returning Nadal's serve at this point, as it had dipped tremendously as far as MPHs. He did a great job of putting it under siege in the third set, but for the better part of the fourth, and I think in the fifth, his serve did start getting better. The painkillers probably started kicking in more at that point late in the match. But I think especially with Nadal serving second in both the fourth and the fifth set, Fritz probably could have done a better job putting the Rafa serve under pressure, as he served to stay in the match a couple of times. But other than that, I think the fourth and the fifth was more about Nadal taking it away than Fritz giving it away. As I said in the spin, the Nadal forehand really went to another planet to compensate for the lack of easy 1-2 setups as well as free points he was getting out of his serve. And it really was the full arsenal of the Nadal forehand on display. A lot of forehands down the line, a lot of shots he was taking pretty much off the bounce up the line. And when he has that shot going, I would say it's probably the most explosive, destructive ground stroke that I have ever seen. It really is the X factor for him, and he needed every single bit of it today. In addition, we got a lot of net approaches late in the 4th and 5th set, and considering I think Nadal's volley has been quite shaky this tournament, he did a great job up there with a lot of beautiful drop shots, beautiful touch shots. Not always the easiest to execute, and he was doing so in some of the most pressure-packed moments of this match. Really had Fritz scrambling at times late in this match, and I think that did pay off, as at the back end of the 5th it did seem like Fritz gave out physically just a little bit, and in that super breaker Nadal pretty much raced to the finish line, continuing a streak in 2022, 4-0 in 5 setters, as well as I believe the stat is 13-1 now in tiebreakers. And again, this has been uncharacteristically clutch from post-prime Nadal, because being this good really has not been the norm for him. This is not to say that he's become like a complete mental midget. He's had countless amount of tight moments where he has pulled through. However, there have also been those where he has let a match slip that he shouldn't have, and even had a couple of choky moments, but that has not been the case at all this year. He has been money in pressure situations this year, and really aside from Acapulco, where he steamrolled the field, he has needed it in just about every tournament where he's had success this year, and it really has been a driving factor in the year that he has had. And, a little tidbit before I leave you guys in this video, I do want to talk about injury discourse, because it is really nasty out there. Like, the amount of people that will, be quick to say someone is faking injury is just wild, and I really don't get why it can't be as simple as just giving the players the benefit of the doubt. We don't know what is going on with them, what they're feeling, and in cases like this where you see clear hindrances to the naked eye, serve speed down, box imploring him to retire, and real concerned throughout, it really shouldn't have to come down to pointing that out, but I mean, it's clear as day, right? And, certain people will say double standards with how he's being received for his injury versus how Novak was last year in Australia, and to that, I say that, personally, I feel like I have earned being able to say this. You can go back to my video on the 2021 Australian Open after Novak won it, where I said that I didn't think that the outlook on his injury back then was fair at all. I mean, how ignorant is that? Who are we to say, oh no, you're not feeling pain? It really should be as simple as giving the players the benefit of the doubt. It really should be that simple. I mean, the cases of that being used as gamesmanship are minimal, really, in the grand scheme of things. So, just wanted to get that off my chest. Otherwise, I do hope that Nadal is able to recover to at least be able to take the court on Friday. I'm sure he will. A day off should do him well in that respect. Albeit seemed a little despondent in press in regards to that, but the fan in me is hoping. Otherwise, all things considered, with how this tournament has unfolded and all the crazy stuff that has happened, I do think that we have been blessed with decent semifinal lineups. Obviously the two GOATs, a player in Nick Kyrgios who, with all his baggage, is undeniably box office, and of course the home charge in Cam Norrie, breaking through in majors, great to see, making the semifinals in front of his home crowd here. So all we can do is strap in, wait for Friday. Should be a great day, but that will do it for this video. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, it would be much appreciated if you could take a second to hit the like button. Helps this video perform better in YouTube's algorithm, and also subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Thank you again so much for watching. I appreciate it, and of course, I will see y'all in the next one.